Those who showed up to boo and curse out inactive former 76er star Ben Simmons went home miserable over what happened on the court, also courtesy of a dominant two-way performance by Kevin Durant and the Nets. Brooklyn's holdover stars silenced a venomous Wells Fargo Center crowd that loudly chanted F Ben Simmons multiple times before redirecting its anger towards the home team. The Nets cruised to a blowout win since the Harden-Simmons trade. Brooklyn simply played well. James Harden could not buy a basket to save his life. It reminded everyone how James used to play for the Rockets when they would face Golden State in the playoffs or any other playoff game that mattered in Houston. And James would simply chunk up threes and nothing would go in, and turnover frenzy. Harden did not get the calls he usually gets either, and you can tell that affected James. He looked like the Harden we've seen in the playoffs where he disappears or when he's in a big game. The Nets played well, and we know they can play well when Kyrie and KD are together on a nightly basis. But with Seth Curry and James Johnson backing them up, Curry backs up the offense and Johnson does the dirty work. The Nets came out early and set the tempo up and let the Sixers know what type of game they were going to play. They basically slapped them in the mouth. They punched the Sixers. They were up by 24 at one point. KD said they played inspired basketball for Ben Simmons, which honestly, I doubt it. Simmons has been on this team for maybe about a month? The Nets were still losing games. No, they came out inspired to show Harden they are the better team and how they desperately needed this win. The Nets need wins bad. The Nets are a better team than the Sixers. Brooklyn blew out the Sixers and had all the fans quiet, but they saved an extra round of boos for Simmons when he picked up a ball that had gone out of bounds with just over 8 minutes left. Fans yelled one more time while many on the Nets bench simply smiled and offered Simmons high fives at the end of the team's most joyous night in almost 2 months. While it remains unclear when Simmons will be able to make his season debut, it's continue to dealing with back issues. The Nets are hopeful he will be able to take part in some of Saturday's practices as a first real step towards getting back on the floor. The win provided another reason so many in the organization are still confident in the Nets. Championship dreams can be reached this season, and Durant and Irving are playing at a very high level, and the Nets believe Simmons can quickly return to his old form once he is cleared. He is an important part of the Nets' journey simply by sitting on the bench against his old team. The win also meant a little more to the Nets because of the emotions involved in seeing Harden again and the return that Simmons had to face. But Durant wants his team to remain focused as it continues to try to build some momentum before the playoffs begin.